Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to deconstruct a digital heist. Literally, we're looking at a massive, highly sophisticated cyber attack that Microsoft just recently uncovered. It is a fascinating look at how modern cybercriminals aren't really just breaking down the digital door anymore, you know? Instead, they're convincing you to open it, hand over the keys, and turn off the alarm system for them. We're going to break down the exact anatomy of this crisis, step by step, so you can see exactly how they pulled it off.
Imagine sitting at your desk. It's just a normal Tuesday, right? And you get an email from Human Resources about a sudden code of conduct review. It looks completely official. It's got the right logos, the right corporate tone. So you click the link, pass a quick security check, and log in. You think you're just complying with company policy. But in reality, you've literally just handed over total control of your corporate network to a hacker. So consider the question here. Could a fake HR email bypass your company's strongest security? After seeing the data we're about to go through today, your answer might just change. Okay, let's dive into this, because the sheer scale is staggering. 35,000 targeted users. This wasn't some small, isolated incident. Between April 14th and 16th, an incredibly short, aggressive time window, attackers locked their sights on a massive number of professionals. This sheer scale tells us that this was a highly automated, rapidly executed strike. They wanted to catch as many people off guard as possible before security teams could even sound the alarm. And it wasn't just a handful of massive corporations taking the hit either. Those 35,000 users, they were spread across 13,000 different organizations. Think about the logistical effort required to orchestrate a campaign of that magnitude. We're talking about a coordinated global siege on corporate infrastructure. It proves that no matter the size of your company, you are likely in the crosshairs. But here's where the data gets incredibly specific. While this attack actually spanned 26 different countries, an overwhelming 92% of the targets were located right in the United States. The attackers clearly had a primary objective, focusing the vast majority of their resources squarely on US-based corporate networks.
Part 1. Deconstructing the trap and exactly how they got in.
So, how exactly did they achieve this massive scale? Well, the bait was just incredibly convincing. The attackers posed as internal compliance or HR departments. They used highly authoritative sender names, stuff like Internal Regulatory COC, and subject lines screaming workforce communications. They warned users about a supposed code of conduct review, but they didn't stop there. These emails featured polished layouts and formal corporate language. To build even more trust, they even referenced fake encryption services, making the victim feel like they were interacting with a secure, highly sensitive internal channel. It was pure psychological manipulation designed to create urgency and compliance. Let's move to the next part and see how this builds, because this is exactly where the brilliance and the extreme danger of this attack lies. They didn't just send a bad link in an email. First, the fake HR email pushed the user to open a PDF attachment. Once the PDF was opened, a link inside directed them to review case materials. But then came step 3, CAPTCHA verification. Now, this is incredibly clever. By forcing the user to complete a CAPTCHA, the attackers accomplished 2 things. First, it made the process feel completely authentic and secure to the human user. But second, and honestly more importantly, it acted as a filter to block automated security tools from scanning the final destination page. After jumping through all these agonizing hoops, the user finally lands on a fake Microsoft sign-in page.
Part 2, the tech reveal and the AITM bypass.
Now, landing on a fake sign-in page isn't entirely new, right? But what happens the moment you type in your credentials is the core technical twist of this digital heist. The technique used is called an adversary in the middle attack, or AITM. Think of it like a malicious middleman intercepting a package right as it's being handed over to the delivery driver. At the final stage of that complex flow we just looked at, the user is looking at a sign-in page that actually forms part of an AITM setup. The attacker has positioned themselves directly between the user and the legitimate Microsoft service. They aren't just logging keystrokes, they're actively intercepting the authentication data in real time as the user logs in. Now, what's really interesting about this comparison is the stark contrast between traditional methods and AITM. In traditional phishing, the hacker just wants to steal your password so they can log in later. But with AITM phishing, because they're intercepting the login in real time, they capture something far more valuable, the session token. When you log into a service and complete your multi-factor authentication, like, putting in that code from your phone, the service issues a session token to your browser so you stay logged in. By capturing that exact token, the attacker gains direct access to your account without ever needing your password. It completely bypasses some multi-factor authentication protections. It essentially renders your basic MFA completely useless.
Part 3. Who was in the crosshairs and the targeted industries?
With a weapon that powerful, who did they point it at? While Microsoft noted that this campaign affected a broad range of sectors and didn't just focus on one, we can definitely see clear patterns in the data. Healthcare and life sciences were hit the hardest, accounting for 19% of the targets. Right behind them, financial services at 18%. Professional services in the technology sector each accounted for 11%. These are high-value industries, packed with sensitive data, intellectual property, and financial access. It just shows that the attackers were highly strategic about exactly where they deployed this complex trap.
Part 4. The defense and Microsoft solutions.
Okay, so we know the scale, the method, and the targets. The obvious next question is, how do you actually stop it? So the crucial point is that basic defenses are just no longer enough. Microsoft's primary recommendation is to adopt phishing-resistant authentication methods, things like physical security keys that simply can't be intercepted by an ATM middleman. Organizations also need to enable protections like safe links and safe attachments, and fundamentally strengthen their overall email security settings. But honestly, perhaps the most important layer of defense is the human one. We have to increase user awareness. As Microsoft pointed out, phishing is moving way beyond basic fake emails. Users need to understand that even an email that looks completely legitimate, features internal language, and has multiple security verification steps like CAPTCHAs can still be entirely malicious.
Part 5. The escalation and AI-led cyber threats.
If you thought this manual, highly orchestrated campaign was concerning, well, we need to talk about where this is heading next. In April, India's National Nodal Agency, CERT-In, issued a major advisory regarding a new class of frontier AI systems. We're talking about agentic AI, systems like GPT 5.5 and Anthropic's Mythos. CERT-In highlighted a fundamental shift. AI is evolving from a passive assistant that just answers your prompts into an active operator. These models can independently plan and execute really complex multi-step tasks. And this brilliantly illustrates the true danger on the horizon. The CERT-In advisory explicitly warns that attackers can use these active operators to automate reconnaissance, craft convincing phishing campaigns, and execute multi-stage intrusions with minimal human effort. Think back to that incredibly complex Microsoft attack we just dissected. The customized HR bait, the multi-stage CAPTCHA flow, the real-time AITM interception. Now, imagine all of that being orchestrated not by a room full of human hackers, but fully automated by intelligent, hyper-fast AI threat chains. It means the scale and sophistication of what we saw in April is really just the baseline for the future. We're entering an era where the adversary isn't just clever, it's autonomous. The attacks are going to look flawless, the urgency will feel entirely real, and the technical traps will adapt in real time. Which leaves us with one final, critical question to consider as you go back to your day. As these AI-assisted threat chains become the new normal, is your inbox ready for the AI phishing era? Take the time to review those defenses we talked about, stay vigilant, and always, always double-check that urgent HR email. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. I hope it brought some vital clarity to a really complex digital battlefield.